Hello and welcome to the video. Today we will be doing some editing in DxO's PhotoLab 9. PhotoLab 9 is DxO's central photo editing software with simple yet powerful features to help you get the best out of your raw files. In this video I will show you some of my favourite features to see if PhotoLab is right for you, give you the rundown and do some edits with you. Also, DxO's other software such as Net Collection seamlessly integrate into PhotoLab 9 or can be used as a plugin for Lightroom or Photoshop, meaning you get flexibility and more importantly, what suits you. Full transparency, DxO reached out to me a few months ago asking if I'd like to try this software, and since then I've been getting used to using it. Right now they actually have an offer on for 20% its usual purchase price if you use the code Ian_26. If you're watching after the 29th of June, you can use my usual code of Ian15 to get 15% off your first purchase. I have 3 images to edit, each showing a different feature that I've come to like in DxO PhotoLab 9. But first I'm going to explain the tabs. The first one is Photo Library, where it shows you all your files down the left hand side. These are just how they appear on your storage, so there's no catalogue that you have to do it into, it's just how it is in memory. And the other one is Customize, which is your editing tab, and this is your get rid of that. This is your starting tab, which is the light one, which is the universal edit. But for this particular picture of the wild garlic, I want to do local adjustments, which is masks mainly. And the thing I want to show you is the AI masks, because the accuracy at which it manages to find even background blurry subjects is quite something. So if I do this, so look, this is all like it's dark and also blurry, and it still manages to find individual leaves in the background. So I think that's quite impressive. But yeah, my intention here is to emphasize these flowers, so I'm going to click on them to add them, and you can work obviously in each individual mask, but I found that it's also got quite a good way of being able to group them, and it can streamline you doing these sort of masks if it calls for it. So basically I'm going to click on all of the flower heads so I can emphasize them. Then I'm going to add a bit of exposure. Oh no, that's just the one. I forgot to add them all together. So basically you do the drop down on each one except for the one that you want to put it into, and then you drag it into it, and it then becomes a mask within the one you've dragged it to. Obviously this has a lot of combinations you could do it to, so you can group certain things or certain colours or parts of the image into one mask if that's what it needs. So yeah, I'll just continue to drag it in. Doesn't really matter which way you do it, so as long as they end up in the same place. last one. There we go. That's all of them now within mask 1. So I've gone from 12 to 1 right now. So basically we can now do all of these changes at the exact same time, while also having very accurate masking. So you can see it coming out quite well with very defined edges, which I think is very good. So I'll just add a bit of exposure here and make sure we don't zoom in a bit, and we'll add a bit of highlight and some mid-tones. Make sure we don't go too far with it though. I think I'll leave the blacks where it is. But yeah, that's the main edit I'm doing here. And the other thing I want to do is I'm actually gonna duplicate, which has made it even more pronounced, but that's not what I want to do. And now I will invert mask, but I now have to reset it because it's copied all the changes I did. And now I put this all back. Oh. Yeah, that's all of that. And then we do the opposite by dropping down the exposure to emphasize the flowers even more so. I don't want to make the, get rid of that. I don't want to make it too dull in the background, but I don't want to take these mid-tones right down and make the light on the back of the on the back leaves there, especially this one, go flat, because that sort of takes away the definition of it. But we just do the shadows a little bit. And I think if I do the blacks, yeah, it's too much with the blacks. So now that's done, I might actually raise it up a little bit more on the flowers. I know where the background is now. And yeah, that's more or less the end result. And I'll give it a then I'll give it a 1:1 crop, and yeah, that's about it. And we can have a look here with the before and after, see how it has brought it out. I just need to do a bit of colour grading on this, but that's the main thing for this one. And we will now do, oh no, I'll now go to the next image, which is this spider which has caught the fly. And the thing I want to show here is the what's it called? The DxO smart lighting, because essentially it is the equivalent to a, what's it called? The adaptive presets that you get in Lightroom is the closest thing I can equate it to. So if you put this on, the uniform one is basically sort of low, medium and high, as you can see. But what I think is actually more powerful, I mean, it's, if you read the description here, it says it's meant for portraits, but you can basically do the spot weighted, and you take this tool and you put it over whatever you need to sort of be the right exposure for the whole thing, to bring the attention to that particular thing. So I'll just put this box around the spider and the fly, and you'll see the background actually goes darker again slightly, but it's better than having the whole thing do it, and also you have the ability to do the same thing as the uniform one as well. But it's a good starting point to go from, which means that it's less work to get to the same ending, and it's also more powerful because you have obviously infinite areas that you can go to and adjust to. Like, I can make this tighter now, and then it'll just, that's that. So now you can not have to worry as much about the global sliders, because it's in the range more so than what it should be, especially if your exposure is a bit off to begin with. So as you can see, I'm sort of just doing very slight adjustments here. Then yeah, it's a bit too much. And I'll give this a crop, which is probably going to be a 4x5 or 5x4, to get rid of this bit over here. Although it might work a bit better at 16x9. Nah, it's wrong shape. 16x10. Which one would be best? No, I think it's probably going to be a 16x10 is the closest one to what I'm looking for. Yeah, I'll put that on there and go for and I will do a create a vignette around the edge. and I think that's about where I was gonna do that. Just need to do some small adjustments otherwise, because I believe I've got some dust spots to be getting rid of, but I will put all my shots up at the end, and yeah, after I've finished doing the intended stuff I want and do my colour grading and all that sort of stuff, because I don't want to go too long with this video. Anyway, on to the last one, and this one is the more, this is the one I'm looking at for the what's it called, the noise reduction software, because this is, what is it at, ISO 6400. So yeah, when you look at it, especially on the bridge here and on this, on the side of the logo, it's quite noisy. But you just go to the that's it, detail, and now you can choose whichever denoising and demosaicing algorithm you feel like. So basically here we have the standard one, which has done a pretty decent job, to be honest. Is you've got that versus that, then you've got Deep Prime 3, which is that, which has retained quite a lot of detail. And if you look up in the bridge, you can see just how much it's actually reduced it. And then if we go to Deep Prime 3, you can see again how it's got the noise reduced right down, which is very impressive. And also it seems to not have the same problem that you get, because this is what, 200%. I'm looking at it a lot of the time when you go, and this is also on the auto settings, so I haven't played around with this. A lot of the time the auto settings actually make it go quite sort of waxy. That's the way I like to describe the what's it called, denoising stuff, is that you get a sort of waxy look over the top of them when it's done too much, and this doesn't seem to be too bad on almost all of them, because it just keeps the even the fine detail. Like there's rivets here, barely a few pixels, and they don't get mushy on whichever one you look at. See, it's quite ridiculous. And yeah, if you want to have a closer look, well, that doesn't make much sense. But in the loop view, if you do that, you get the actual, because this is just the preview, you get the actual what it will end up as once you process it with it. So that's 400% with Deep Prime XD3 on it. I'll zoom back out of it. yeah, it's quite impressive, especially without playing about with it. Because usually in other stuff I've tried, both Topaz and Lightroom, it's the default thing is almost always over the top. But to be able to have this without it looking waxy is actually quite amazing, and will certainly help with my night shots that I take with the trains, because to get these shots you need high ISO to get the shutter speed to actually stop them when they're moving along, because this isn't a train that is actually stationary. This is rolling through the station at probably about 30 miles an hour. So yeah, I'm thoroughly impressed with the denoising thing, and this is available as its own thing as Pure RAW 6. So if you want this particular noise denoising software, then you can still use it in Lightroom and Photoshop as a plugin, and that's basically it. I will show you the sort of crop I'll go with this one. Now I need to do the making it straight, because I've made it squiffy when I was taking it. And I'll line it up with the bottom of the bridge. Yeah, that looks alright. And yeah, now I need to crop to get rid of the black bits around the corner where I've straightened it up. Got it all. I think so. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll give this the smart lighting to show you what the end photo might end up looking like. And yeah, you can play with this a bit more. That's probably closer to what it's going to be. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.